Hello, everybody, and welcome back tonight on ESN. We have the AWSCO Windows Cup Series. We're back this weekend from Kansas Speedway as we're tackling round 32 of the 40 race schedule. We're here for the Hollywood Casino 267 laps around this 1.5 mile speedway. This Kansas Speedway is often highly regarded as one of the best speedway ovals on the NASCAR schedule, known for its fast-paced, multi-groove racing. That's often both hectic and chaotic, and also strategic at the same time. There's always a lot to talk about when it comes to stock car racing here at this track. I'm Rasha, and I'm joined here tonight in the studio with Madison. Welcome back to the studio, Madison. How are you feeling about this track? We obviously already had a race this weekend at Kansas Speedway. The Continental race was a bit of a mess, but we had lots of good racing regardless of that. What do you expect from the Cup drivers today? There's a lot of lessons I think to be taken away from the Continental race last night.
Well, misses with good racing aren't exactly unheard of across motorsport generally, but I think there's a lot of optimism to be had. Continental, as you mentioned, did have some good racing, even if troubled in some extent. NASCAR's had very good shows here. Other racing series have put on a spectacle here as well. I'd expect nothing less from AWSCO, especially with our 40 drivers, playoffs at stake. There's a lot to talk about, and I think there will be a lot to show for it on track.
Yeah, obviously the playoffs are going to be the centerpiece of all the talking points here today for this race. It was certainly the case in the Continental race as well, given how close the points are hitting. How close the points are by design. There's barely any room for error right now, as we see the point standings right now. Perry Alicante has already clinched her spot in the next round through her win at North Wilkesboro Speedway last week. But beyond that, it's all to play for right now. Arinia Tosama in second, all the way down to Johnny McJasmina. It is, I think a 39-point spread. Yes, 2041 to 2002 points. 39-point spread between all of them. 10 points separating the cutoff line right now between the 55 of Bria Delod of Dark Horse Racing and the 99 Marisha Vebels for Evans Ross Racing on the other side of that. Obviously, last week at North Wilkesboro, our playoff cars were kind of distributed everywhere across the field. We obviously had a car winning the race, cars finishing in the top 5, top 10, and a lot of cars having trouble early on, including two. I think the main storyline I take out of that race in terms of teams that had issues, Mason Parker Motorsports obviously had one of their drivers win, but their other two drivers, neither of them finished in the top 35 and find themselves below the cut line right now. Arlen Handstrom and Eva Yarsaraj, both of them had 2 wins in the regular season, but haven't found themselves below the cut line heading into this race. Lots of things can change, of course, heading into this race. But what do you think of the playoff standings as it stands right now?
Well, I think there's definitely everything to fight for. You see some of the drivers, even at the top, say for Alicantes, are not locked in terms of points. Like even Tosima, who's second in the standings right now, highest among those without a win yet,
Yeah,
could be in trouble, potentially, if something goes very wrong.
Yeah,
And you have somebody like Majasmina who could fight back toward the top, and pretty much every other position is conceivably close enough to where just a bad pit stop or a few positions or a spin could really change somebody's day.
Yeah, Tosama and Abby Little are highest up in points right now. They're both 33 points above the cut line, which
They are.
is fairly decent after only one race. To be fair, I should say. But of course, that can all change in one race, given how close the points are right now. Actually, so lots to talk. Lots that can possibly. There's a lot of things that can change in the course of one race, and we saw that in the Continental Series. Cars moving well up and down because of how close the points are and how from a points perspective, how close things are set up to be in the playoff system here. And with that, let's take a look at our racetrack. Of course, Kansas Speedway, a 1.5 mile 1.5 mile tri-oval speedway track, similar to a lot of other quote unquote cookie cutter speedway ovals with let's see here, 17 to 20 degree banked corners and 10 degrees of banking on the front stretch, 5 degrees of banking on the back stretch. I think obviously this track bears a lot of resemblance to a lot of other ISC developed ovals. The one I always think about is Las Vegas, of course. That's another kind of racetrack where a similar form of racing, albeit not exactly the same, I should say,
Configuration.
yeah, configuration. Although Las Vegas is it's an SMI developed track, but still racing wise, not too different. I think maybe Chicagoland as well. That's another example. That's I think an ISC developed track with a similar profile. Go ahead.
That's right, and they were built around the same time, 2000 and 2001 respectively. This is one of the newest tracks in the NASCAR series, of course, and quite new in terms of construction for AWSCO as well. And as you mentioned, the whole 17, 20 degrees of banking, that is progressive banking, which means that high line is just as competitive as the low line is. You have banking on the tri-oval front stretch, the back stretch is nice and straight, and there's just really a lot to talk about. No 2.5-mile tracks are the exact same despite what the initial appearance is. And of course, you'll remember in the 2000s, the banking was actually a bit lower, so that progressive banking also relatively new. So I think there's a lot to talk about in terms of just how this track is. And ever since the repave, it's been quite chaotic, as we've seen over the years.
Yeah, the progressive banking obviously is one of the main talking points heading into this race, and we saw that the progressive banking working its magic in the Continental race, at least later on in the runs as the tires kind of start to heat up and wear out a little bit. That outside line becomes just as strong as the inside line over time, but at the beginning of the run, that inside line still reigns supreme. So definitely watch out for that on the initial start and on the restarts. You definitely want to stick to that bottom line from what we saw in the Continental race. At least early on, you can gain a lot of positions off the jump from that. We saw the 65 of Latanya Gray gaining 20 positions in the first 15 laps or so, I think, by using that inside line to advantage. So for those drivers starting out at the back, that's something to perhaps think about doing early on here, but the main difference starting grid wise, as we'll move over to that now, is that our playoff drivers are distributed a lot more evenly here as opposed to the starting lineup we had in the Continental Series. In the Continental Series, we had a bunch of playoff drivers starting at the back on those provisional spots. Not as much here in the Cup Series, obviously. Drivers are kind of distributed pretty evenly around the front, the mid, and the midfield and the back of the grid. And because of that, I think we might see some different strategies from these drivers. Looking at our starting lineup, our front row, it's playoff driver Lockout, the 46 of Yenfi Yanaga, takes the pole alongside the one of Alicia Vancy. Yanaga, obviously above the cut line, 26 points up, had a good race at a North Wilkesboro, finished in the top 10 that time. Vancy did not have such a good, as much of a good race. I think she had a mechanical problem in that race, so this is a good opportunity for her to recover, starting on the outside of row 1. Looking at the rest of our top 10, we have Schleichenbach and Raristown, another one of our playoff drivers, 11th in the points right now in row 2. Youngwei Ku and Mika Gennaro in row 3. Jami McJasmina, 20th in points in row 4. Only ran a few laps before her engine expired in that race, alongside Sophie Chantasse in row 4. And rounding up the top 10, a pair of non-playoff cars, Amani Huandayo and Amory Wesco, who just finished third last week at North Wilkesboro. That a great run for that team. Unfortunately, that team is closing down at the end of the season, it seems. So, Gulf Racing trying to go out with one last blaze of glory here. 2 cars in the top 10 for a team in its lame duck portion of this of the season. Now it seems. What do you think of our starting lineup? Madison here.
Well, you mentioned Vancy up on the front row, of course, just below the cut line at 10 points down, which is definitely a smaller margin than it may initially seem. We've talked about how does one simple mistake, one simple misfortune can really change your story for the entire season. And for Vancy, I think she really has a great opportunity from that front row to get very far. And talking about other drivers, Halverson had trouble at North Wilkesboro starting near the back. Alcontes won last week at North Wilkesboro starting near the back. So our drivers who have been prominent and up front, even at different tracks, haven't always stayed there in terms of qualifying, but with a track like Kansas, you definitely can make your way up toward the front. I'm sure Abby Little could. She was in contention late in the race, ultimately fell back to fourth at North Wilkesboro, but could potentially make her way up front here today. I think at a place like Kansas, your starting position is important to a degree, but it isn't the be-all, end-all like it might be at some tracks.
Yeah, maybe another pair of drivers to look out for is the 31 and 13, Taylor Happerman and Yanil Waterton. They're both starting near the back. They're kind of two of our underdogs here in the playoffs, alongside maybe Abby Little. Those three, I think, have the worst average finish heading into the playoffs, and are kind of maybe thought of as round one fodder per se. But all three of them find themselves above the cut line right now, and they're both starting near the back, but they're on that inside line, which we saw could be really advantageous if you play your cards right at the beginning of the race. So maybe watch out for those two. They're Haverman starting in 33rd and Waterton starting in 37th place. So they're starting right with Alacontes, Talberson, and Vebelst as well, who's back there, who's back there. Those are your 5 playoff cars that are starting outside the top 30. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens with those cars, but obviously the main point here, of course, is dodging that that potential for a big first accident. We saw how big the first crash was here at Kansas in the Continental race. Took out a good chunk of cars. About a quarter of the field, I think, was taken out alone by that. But we'll see if the Cup drivers are kind of taking that to heart a little bit, maybe running a little bit less aggressive at the opening portion of the race.
That's funny. Running less aggressive at the opening portion of the race. This is AWSCO. I don't think they really have a concept of timing for aggression, really. You just go whenever you feel like it, and that's pretty much all the time here.
This is true. We have plenty of drivers who are known for being extremely aggressive in both series. And one of those happens to be starting at the back. That 99 is definitely going to be a driver to look out for.
For sure.
And another final note, I think, to bring up here. We saw quite a few engine problems in the Continental race. If you weren't a playoff driver that was taken out in an early wreck, more likely than not, you had some form of engine trouble. Lots of cars having problems in a fairly short race last night at Kansas. Only 300 miles. Only 300 miles compared to 400 miles here. I wonder if these Cup teams are having maybe just a little bit worried about the weather conditions, maybe how that might play into their the engine packages here.
I think that's more worried than anything, because you remember the Cup race at North Wilkesboro, we had a number of engine failures there as well, and that was about as good of weather as you could ask for in this time of year in western North Carolina. If it's, generally worse weather out in the plains of Kansas, I would expect maybe a bit more, but you never know. Maybe the engine builders have worked a bit harder for this race. Maybe there's one bolt or screw that was screwed in on this engine that wasn't on the other one. You just don't know, so you can't worry about it until it happens.
Yeah, and if that does happen, that might change. That might be the main issue that throws a wrench into some of these playoff drivers' ambitions more than anything else.
It's very much a death knell.
Yeah, you don't want to have. A lot of these drivers have already had problems in in the first race, and you really don't want to have problems in 2 races in a 3-round eliminator system like this, because that just puts you in between a rock and a hard place for that elimination race. And with that race being at Watkins Glen, that's going to be rather tricky to navigate if you're in that position where you have to win to keep your championship hopes alive. All right, any final notes that you have, perhaps, before we take things over to the booth for the start of the race?
Well, all I can say to those of you watching at home is enjoy the race. I'm sure we will, and you'll see a lot of good racing tonight. So With that, do you have anything further to say?
No, I think I'll just copy what you said there. This hopefully this should be a fairly good show. Hope everyone enjoys the race from home. We will definitely be doing so in the studio as well. And with that, we'll take things over to the booth where I believe Echo and Liam will be calling the shots here in the Hollywood Casino 400. Please enjoy the show, and we'll see you guys in the mid-race report here in the ESN studio. Thank you.
Yeah, and welcome to the Kansas Speedway here in Kansas City, Kansas. There's a lot of Kansases in that, but we're here for the Hollywood Casino 400, 267 laps here, 400 miles from this 1.5 mile track that has produced some of the best racing we've seen in years throughout in the NASCAR Cup Series. I'm joined here today by Liam Nolan. Liam, you've gone a few races here in the Cup Series. What do you think we're gonna see in this one tonight, with some playoff storylines up for discussion?
I mean, last night we saw, I'm going to say something we weren't expecting, and that was a bit of a chaotic start to the race, and then it got really strategic towards the end. It was a really unpredictable race. We had drivers from all over the playoff field in and out, a lot of engine troubles for them, so it'll be interesting to see how the Cup teams play it compared to that. It'll be really interesting to see if they, hopefully they can make it more than 12 laps before we get a 20-car pileup like we had last night, because that would definitely shake up the playoffs, especially heading into a road course next week at Watkins Glen.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as it stands, I think tonight's gonna be a great race.
It's going to be very crucial tonight to get to the front, but also not to be involved in any calamity, because this track kind of lends itself to that. With that being said, we're going to go through our starting grid here from Kansas. Row 1, it's Yenfi Yanaga on the pole. She came in pretty good, finished last week, 9th place in North Wilkesboro. She's alongside Felicia Vancy, who had an engine issue last week in North Wilkesboro. She sits behind the cut line coming in. Row 2 is the 8 of Lowry Schliesenbach. She's alongside the 32, Cinlia Rariston. Row 3 is the 38 of Young Wei Koo and the 42 of Mika Gennaro. Row 4 is the 6 of Jami McJasmina and the 26 of Sophie Chantaze. Row 5 is the 21 of Amani Wandayo and the 60, AWSCO, finished 3rd last week. Row 6, the 10 of Audie Stoneman and the 9 of Carly Byrne. Row 7 is the 15 Tabrizi Toleran and the 55 Bria DeLaude. Row 8 the 93 Irina Tosima, 4-time winner this year, and the 23 Yappy Malikson. Row 9 the 22 Andrea Davison and the 19 Arlen Handstrom. Handstrom trying to get back from below the cut line right now. Row 10, the 27 Nietzsche Garnson and the 72 Janet Parkings. Row 11 Mika Harina is alongside Michele Yatica. Row 12, the 64, Jocelyn Yanahale, alongside the 96 of Angeli Rigatino. Row 13, the 98 of Jarsaraj, she's comes in below the cut line, and the 82 of Paisley Uria. Row 14, the 62, Halis Jukovic, and the 71 of Abby Little. Row 15 is the 91, Alicia Byrne, and the 2 of Isa Ijavida. Row 16, the 16 of Sky Anjeta, and the 52, Rachel Cole. Row 17 is the 31, Taylor Happeman, and the 99, Marisha Pebbles, who comes in below the cut line. Row 18, the 17, Dara Reister, and the 18, Perry Alacantes, last week's winner at North Wilkesboro. She can take a bit of a seat this week if she wants to. Row 19, the 13 of Yania Waterton, and the 39 of Lily Talberson. And in row 20 is the 20 of DeGabby Gabriella, and the 3, Mimi Barino. With Perry Alacantes having that win last week, she doesn't really have to do anything this week. With that being said, Liam, if you're the 18, do you think you want to go for the win here, or do you want to just keep it low, just kind of chill out for this race?
I think everybody goes into a race weekend wanting to win, whether you're locked into the next round of the playoffs or not. So I mean, everyone on that 18 team would love to get a second win in a row, but it's definitely not a priority. Priority is getting good information, getting the details ready so that you're ready to go for the next round of the playoffs, which I believe features another 1.5 mile speedway.
Yes.
It does.
Oregon.
With Oregon, so just sort of get that setup dialed in and make sure that you have a good race so that the race car's ready to go for when it does matter in the next round.
And if you're any of these other playoff drivers, especially if you're one of those drivers that comes in below the cut line, what is your thoughts there, or what do you think they are thinking of right now?
Well, I think it's interesting. We've got a lot of Cup drivers starting towards the back of this field who have won at mile-and-a-half tracks this season. Looking at Webelst, hang on one second. Yeah, you look at the 99, the 13. Those two drivers have won at mile-and-a-halfs this season. They sit back there. I think I don't know if the 13's in the playoffs, but
She is.
yeah, 22. Like, we've got drivers starting at the back of this field who have won at these types of tracks before, know what it takes to win at these types of tracks, but they're going to have a lot of work to do, and that'll be something really interesting to look at. He's car rolling now.
Yenfe Yanega and Felicia Vancy will lead them to the green flag here. No issues on the grid, so we have a pretty orderly start. Looking, at least that's what it looks like here. That's what it looks like it'll be here. Pace car pulls off, and Yanega and Vancy will lead them to the green. We are about to get underway from Kansas. Green flag.
It's like a pretty even start, but it'll be the 46 who gets the edge off the starting line there. She's going to have the inside into turn one, which should leave her clear for the lead. We'll see how Vancy pulls in that middle lane, though.
One car trying to use the top side to keep second right now. Again, that top lane, we saw it working yesterday. And Vancy will use that high side to hold on to the second spot.
Yeah, it's Vancy second, Yanega first right now. Third place at the moment, Lori Schliesenbach in the 8 car. She's looking pretty quick.
Yep, Schliesenbach does look very fast right now. Vancy kind of just following Yanega for the moment. Never mind, here comes the one car for the race lead. To the inside goes Felicia Vancy, looking for not only the lead, but also that crucial bonus point. But here comes Schliesenbach, 3 wide to the inside.
Vancy doesn't lead that lap, and now she's looking at third place maybe as Schliesenbach goes to the inside. I was about to say it's about single file for the first 6 cars in this pack, but now we're back to 2x2 all the way down. And then it's a slight gap back to what I believe is 9th place.
And Yanega uses that outside lane, the strength of it, and she'll lead this lap, and she'll break out front a little bit. That 3 wide back here between Youngwei Koo, Carly Byrne, and Amani Wandayo. These 3 battling for position.
Buddy Stoneman in there as well. .46 lost the lead, I think, 2 times in that last lap, and she managed to not give away one of those bonus points to either of the cars behind her. As now it's Schliesenbach looking for the lead on the inside.
8 car going for it, and she's clear. Lowry Schliesenbach to the front of the field.
You see that white banner on the 8 car. Just because a driver's not in the playoffs doesn't mean they're not competing for wins.
Absolutely.
She's now up front ahead of a playoff driver.
But for how long? Here comes Yanega. Schliesenbach will lead at the line. 46 fights back, though, on the 8 car.
Trading the lead back and forth early in this race. Just a taste of what we're going to get all night long here. 260 more laps of this.
Schliesenbach uses that outside lane, though. And I think we're kind of seeing the groove war in a little bit yesterday. The outside lane wasn't as strong yesterday, but we're kind of seeing that the groove's kind of worn in a little bit, and these cars are looking a little bit better on the top side today as the 26 is coming down pit road of Sophie Chantezay. I'm not sure if that's scheduled or not. Looks like the 60 of Amory Wesco. Also,
yeah, 60 looks slow. Might have been an issue there.
it's very possible that could have been an incident that that didn't cause a yellow. But we'll have to check that out. when we get the opportunity. How about Gianni McJasmina? She's moved up to 4th. She needs a much better run than last week. She's already made it more laps than she did last week. This is because she made it about 3 laps last week at North Wilkesboro.
3 laps at North Wilkesboro isn't a lot. I think that is just over the length of a lap here at Kansas Speedway. So,
Yep, just about.
by completing 2 laps today, she's gone a farther distance than she did last week.
Laurie Schliesenbach out front, though, and the field's kind of starting to single file out a little bit. But again, I think what we're going to see as well, once the tire wear starts to kick in, we're going to see a lot of cars come up and, come through the field and, just be a little bit in different spots.
Yeah, I mean, as the track gets rubbered in and these tires start to wear out, that top lane is gonna activate, and these drivers are gonna have a lot more racetrack to work with. I saw the 32 of Raristown trying that top lane earlier, and she made it work, but she hasn't really gotten much competitive advantage out of it. So once that tire wear starts to kick in, I feel like she's gonna be one of those drivers that we're gonna see move up top early.
Yeah,
Huge
and
block from 42.
42 really threw a block there, but it's not even going to matter because the 10's still going to be able to get to her inside. And Jocelyn Nihil's following in this. And, we're kind of seeing both lanes work here early on. Schliesenbach managed to pass Yanaga on the inside and then held her off while using the outside line. Here comes the one of Alicia Vancy looking for second. To the inside.
It's down to the inside, but Yanaga shuts the door. Lap 12. If we make it past this lap, we made it further than we did last night.
Yep. Another shout out I'd like to give Abby Little. She's already moved up to 16th. She started back in 28, so she's gained 12 spots since the start of this race. She was one of our big talking points last week. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Here comes Yanaga to the inside on Schliesenbach.
Look at Vancy. She might dive down to the inside and she gets an opening. Might be on the front straightaway here.
How about the 9 of Carly Byrne? She's up here, and she's going for second now.
Vancy can't make the block, and Byrne might steal second that lap. Not sure if it went by. I think they were dead even across the line.
They were. Now Carly Byrne looks for the lead in the 9 car.
I think the momentum's just going to run out, and the 46 is going to get that top lane groove, but going to be side by side into turn 3 here.
It depends on what run you get into the turn, but the 9 car got a great drive through the corner there, and she's clear.
Here for the lead. Carly Byrne's going to take over for the first time today.
And someone I didn't even think she would have a shot until, well, she just did that. She just took the lead out of nowhere there. 3rd place, Vancy fighting with Schliesenbach on the outside. That's one thing I think we're seeing now. Both lanes can work if you run them well enough.
We saw this early on yesterday as well. There were drivers who started in row 14, row 15, and they ended up battling for the lead. And then when that big one broke out, they were the cars that ended up battling for the lead the entire rest of the race. So
yeah,
track position's really going to matter, and it can change in an instant.
And we haven't had that kind of big one yet, so we're 16 laps into this run. Keep in mind that it's a little bit cloudier here, so they have a little more grip now than they did yesterday. That lets them, they have a little more, that means they'll have a little more speed than they did yesterday down the straightaways. But it also means they kind of have to lay on the brakes a little more in the corners.
Saw that run. The 1 car just got on the top lane, made it work, gets clear of the 8 and blocks down to take over that 3rd position, or stay in that 3rd position, I should say.
Yep. Right now, it's Carly Byrne who's out front. Tabrizi Tolerman back here. There's Yappy Malikson sitting up in the 8th spot. Well, actually, I think she's moved up to 6th now.
I think I just saw that out of the corner of my eye. Yappy Malixon made an aggressive move to the inside, slid the 15 up the racetrack, and managed to take the position away. She is on the move right now.
She absolutely is, and here comes McJasmina trying to get by Schliesenbach. Here comes McJasmina maybe trying to take another spot from Felicia Vancy.
She saw the momentum coming from that 23 car and decided to get in front of it and use it for herself, and she's going to try and ride that all the way to third place.
Meanwhile, we do have, the 46 is pretty close on the 9 for the race lead.
Philippe potentially heating back up. We'll see as they come off of turn 4 here.
No, not quite yet. Jasmina takes third spot away from Felicia Vancy. And a lot of action early on here from Kansas. This is very fun racing.
It's like the 23 of Malixon checked up a little bit in the corner. That's going to bring everybody back together here. Fifth place on back.
Arinia Tosima back here with Cinlia Rariston. Former teammates, those two. Now both playoff drivers. We got two current teammates. There's Jocelyn Nihil right on the bumper of Cinlia Rariston. 9th place there. Audie Stoneman trying to peek her nose in. Abby Little's up to 14th now. Sure that the crowd is enjoying that. Malixon will take 4th from Vancy down the front straightaway. How about Carly Byrne, though? Out front.
Yeah, really just popped into this top 3. We didn't really expect her to... We never really saw her coming, and then all of a sudden she took over the lead, and she's been holding on to it for the last few laps. A great performance from that 9 car.
Yeah, kind of similar. We saw Michaela Kirkland do a very similar thing last night in the Continental race. Not in the playoffs, but has had good runs as of late, and right now, and led for a good chunk of that race before she had her engine go from the lead, I believe. Third place might be a battle here soon. Malixon is all on the back bumper of McJasmina.
She looks to the inside down the front straightaway, but McJasmine is going to block.
6 car shuts the door. Meanwhile, 5th place, here's Felicia Vancy and Lowry Schliesenbach. Vancy trying the crossover.
Switches down low.
Not gonna work though. Kind of got outbraked there into turn 3.
Watch that 64 with a head of steam, maybe looking to the inside 3 wide in turn 1. She's not. She's going to stay behind the 93.
And that's not going to help her. That's actually going to lose her a position because Teresa Tolerone used the outside along with Vancy, and now Tolerone looks to the inside of Vancy. 3rd place. Malixon looked. McJasmina holds.
We're now out to a 2nd lead, but we know that can dissolve very quickly here at Kansas.
Oh, absolutely. We saw Robin Morales yesterday. She led for good chunks of the race. And she also was behind for good chunks of the race where she would cut down big chunks of that lead. There isn't really a safe lead here. Here comes Malixon for 3rd spot. And now we're starting to see, you're starting to hear it as well. The tire wear is starting to kick in again. They've brought a higher wearing tire here than they have than the original specs were for this track. So they lost about a second on lap time already, and they'll lose about 3 seconds by the end of the run. And that should also contribute to the racing here.
You see that inside lane already starting to lose some of the speed it had in the beginning of the run. As the tires wear out, you have a bit less grip. down in that inside lane, and you have to lift a bit more. We see those cars checking up down low, leaving that middle to top lane sort of as a strong point right now.
Again, it kind of depends how you roll the corner. That's kind of how I've seen it be. If the outside lane is, if you use the outside lane well, you can really go places. But if you use the inside lane well, you can also really go places. Meanwhile, Carly Byrne is out to a 1.6 second lead now. Audie Stoneman just took 10th away from Pace Laniria. Now she might get into... Yep, she's taken 9th away from Felicia Vancy. We see Abby Little driving her way into the top 10 back here. As Felicia Vancy's now fallen out of the top 10. After starting up front. Stoneman fighting with Tosima for 8th spot.
Present Marina Tosima in the top 10 right now. Looking for a little toe sanity to get her into the top 5.
Yep, but right now she was just trying to hold off the 10 car and was not able to do so. Look to the inside, but the 10 closes the door. Rasha.
Hi. Sorry. Well, we wanted to talk about some of these cars making aggressive moves, moving up the field early. That's what Marisha Vebelsten in 99 has done. Currently running 15th after starting all the way back in 34th place. 34th place. So that's 19 positions gained for that 99 team early on. We mentioned the potential for someone starting out back here, maybe using the short run card to their advantage and making moves, try to get as many spots as possible early on. It seems like that's what the 99 team has focused on here. And it's paying dividends for them as they make another move try to pass the one of Alicia Vancy for 14th here.
And we can sort of see the difference between these short and long run cars. Vancy was up at the front battling for the lead earlier. Now she's fallen back outside the top 10. That car clearly set up for a short run. Adjustments are going to need to be made on pit road.
Absolutely. Fastest lap right now belongs to Lowry Schlusen back in the 8 car. But again, I think you're also seeing with the 8 car, her car is kind of tapering off here as the run gets longer. They might have been expecting a short run to start this race, and we haven't had that caution that's paused the race early. We've been green the whole way so far. So we're 34 laps in.
That's another thing that the unpredictability of the Continental race last night really brought to tonight's race. Is the teams didn't really know how to set up for this race, looking at the Continental situation, just because that race got flipped on its head so early. There wasn't a real way to see how an early long run could go. So this is the first time a lot of the drivers in the garage are seeing a long run early with all the cars working in the field.
Schlesenbach looking to the inside for 5th spot now on McJasmina.
Clears just after the start-finish line. She seems to have found some speed. We'll see if she can keep it.
Got a change for 3rd. Jocelina Nihale has taken that spot away from Yappy Malikson. Battling for 10th here, Pace Lanieria and Abby Little.
I was going to say, meanwhile, that gap for the lead dropped about 0.2 since we last checked on it, now to about 1.4 seconds.
It was about 1.3 last time I had looked, so it's kind of been just wavering around that 1.3 mark. Joniga did close back up again. She gained about a 10th there. Jasmine takes 5th back from Schlesenbach. Interestingly as well, the 64 and 23 are starting to close up on the 46. Although I'm not sure that going side by side like that is going to help them. Yep, down to under a second now, Joniga is. Here comes Malikson for the 3rd spot on Nihale, but Nihale using the outside lane to hold on.
You wonder if maybe Carly Byrne got out to a far enough lead that she can just sort of relax the car a little bit, and even if second place does get a little bit closer, It allows her to save up some of her stuff and carry it longer into this run.
It could be. Could also just be that that 9 car is just not that great on the longer runs. About 9/10 of a second the lead. 46 gained a tiny bit that time, but not as much as she had been gaining before. But I think it's kind of always a game of saving here. Third place again. Here comes Malixon. Trying to get clear of Nihale, and I think she will do it this time. Yes, she will. So Yappy's up to third.
46 dropped back about 3/10 from the 9 car that
Yep.
time by.
But look at the 23 and 64. They're catching the 46 now. And there might be a fight for second here very soon as Malixon got really close to Yanaga. Here we go.
Dives to the inside. That 23 car is looking quick in this long run.
Yappy Malixon looks like she may have one of the best long run cars. Yappy Malixon's just always been very good on the long runs this season.
The 46, though, making that upper groove work.
Yeah,
Stays ahead of the 23.
great job by Yanaga to keep fighting on the high side.
This is exactly what Carly Byrne wants to see in her mirror as she looks behind and sees those cars fading off into the distance, battling each other instead of chasing the lead.
And the 6 of McJasmine has closed up on this as well. She's battling for the 4th spot. Here comes Malixon again. Yanaga trying to use the outside. She's going to do it again.
Looks like that inside groove works at the start of the corner, but once you hit that middle spot and everyone starts to slide towards the exit, the outside just has a bit better grip, which is not surprising with how these corners are run, but it's going to make this battle for second really interesting in how they can hit their marks.
I thought Yappy had a real good shot there multiple times, but Yanaga is just doing really good at rolling that outside line. Six car for 4th again on Jocelyn and Nihale. Toyota and a Honda battling there. That's the two Southwest cars. That's the two Southwest cars in the playoffs in the top 5. Yenfi Yanaga and Xiaoming Jasmine. It is interesting to note that 4 of the top 5 are playoff cars, and the only one that isn't is the leader, actually, Carly Byrne, outside the playoffs. Just trying to do her best, really.
Malixon again slides down low, but the 46, Yenfi Yanaga, is going to hold that top lane, and they're going to be side by side down the back straightaway. This might be Malixon's best chance yet.
Ooh, Malixon slid a little bit.
I think Yanaga got a bit of contact with the outside wall heading into turn 3. Didn't seem to slow her down too much, but enough that she's going to get swallowed up by this pack, and Yappy Malixon's going to take over second place. But here
Not
comes
for
the
long.
64.
Here comes Nihale. Nihale's got something to say. Malixon's got something to say back, though. 23 fighting back on the outside in the top 3. All are drivers without wins this season now. It's the 9, 23, and 64.
As this battle rages on, Carly Byrne out to a lead of about 2 1/3, maybe more when we cross the line here. No, less, actually.
'64 still challenging this 23. Meanwhile, here's Marisha Vebels battling Abby Little. 11th spot at stake here, the 99 and the 71. Nihale finally gets clear for second. But here comes McJasmine in the 6 car.
15 also. Fabrizia Toleron in this battle as well.
Yeah, they've had some interesting news coming out this week. Obviously, their team switching to Mercedes next year. and aligning with ERR. Toblerone left ERR. Toblerone left ERR, but she's gonna come back kind of next season. It's been kind of a season to forget for Tabrizi Toblerone, so maybe having a good run here might help that a little bit.
3 seconds now separating Carly Byrne and the rest of the field.
Carly Byrne is looking very strong right now. In the early run, I think that that 9 car may be one to reckon with. All of the RR cars look pretty fast right now, with the exception of the 39. I'm not really sure where the 39 is. She's back in 23rd, Lily Talberson is, but the others are all in the top 10. Carly Byrne obviously leading. Tosma is 9th, and Vebelst is now up in 10th. Ninecar did give up a little bit that time. She gave up about 0.4 of a second. As Jocelyn Nihale is fully cleared for second. Third place still battling. That's Malikson and McJasmina. But this race has been very clean so far through the first 50 laps. Wondering about playoff drivers who are below the cut line. Jami McJasmina came in about 16 points below the cut line. She's running third right now. She's having a great day so far. Marisha Vebelst came in 10 points back. First car out. She's now 10th. Felicia Vancy was 10 points out. She's now dropped back to 20th. The slot back here. There's Jarsaraj and Handstrom who came in below the cut line as well. Those two are 20th, 30th, and 31st at the moment. So for those two, not looking like a great day from the start here. And that would mean they'd have to really get something cooking at Watkins Glen next week if those positions hold for those two.
If there's any driver I'd trust to go into Watkins Glen below the cut line and come out on top, it would be Ava Zarzaraj.
That's a very fair point, considering she has her two wins this year were both on road courses.
It's something that you can go into and sort of have some relief, but you don't want to bank on a road course race heading into the cutoff. A good performance at Kansas is going to be crucial to being in a spot where you don't have to win.
Yeah, this is still a very crucial race regardless. And there's a car stopped in the apron. That's the 13 of Yania Waterton. No yellow. We stay green. But the 13 of Yania Waterton having problems.
It looks like those mechanical issues are striking early. We're going to see if we can get an update on that.
That was a playoff car above the cut line coming in here, so... Again, no yellow for that. We continue to stay green. Here comes third place at stake. Tabrizia Tolaron trying to take this spot away.
'64 seems to have gotten clear of this mess, and now that battle starts to happen for third. And instead of second.
And Nihil's pretty well clear of this group, but she hasn't really gained that much on Carly Byrne. 38 car, Youngwei Ku apparently having issues. Oh, 9 cars coming to pit road. Carly Byrne is pitting. And we have green flag pit stops. They are beginning. Battle now for second here is Tolerone and McJasmina. Carly Byrne went in really early. Lowry Schliesenbach, the only other one to come in with her. Nihil's pitting. See McJasmine is staying out. Yanaga's coming in here as well. It's a bit split strategy for... So split strategy for the Southwest playoff cars. McJasmine is now the leader. She'll get a bonus point for leading a lap. And I'd want to be careful exiting pit road here. Cars coming down pit road. 6 cars still on the track. 23 is fighting the 15 for second on the racetrack. There's a lot of cars coming down pit road, though. There's the 64 Nihil.
Long time. Multiple laps on pit road for that 38 car.
She's been there a while. Pretty standard looking like for these pit stops. 64 cycles out. She'll cycle out behind the 9 car. The 9 car has these fresh tires, so she's going to start flying by these cars.
So there's a bunch of cars
That's
coming into pit
almost
road
everybody. See the 6 cars come down. 23 has stayed out. Yappy Malekson has chosen to stay out. She wants to lead. She wants that lap lead bonus point, which she'll get. Now she'll come in, I believe.
It's like the 13 after that issue is done for the day. It seems like it might have been an engine problem.
Yeah, she's done. She's out. So here comes everybody else down pit road. Well, except the 62 and the 18. 62 car, Halis Jukovic will take credit for leading a lap now. Yeah, everybody's on pit road here. And the 64 has got way closer to the 9 car. If you look here, she is closed right in on that 9. 62 is in.
Pitting early might have. I think pitting early might have cost the 9 car because she lost a lot of ground to that 64.
I'm not sure. Because we saw the undercut work really well yesterday. And, you know, the undercut's going to work really well here with how with how quickly the tires wear, but there's the 38 car back on track, and Carly Byrne is the leader still. But Jocelyn Nihil is way closer to the 9 car. I think the 64 may have just had better laps getting on and off pit road than the 9 car did. Rasha, you got word on Waterson's issues?
Yep, yep. The team believes that's a camshaft issue on the 13 car. I don't think, and that's not an issue they're gonna be able to fix and recover from that. So that's gonna be the end of their race. So already one engine problem affecting a playoff team off the bat, and that's one that's above the cut line too. So that's certainly going to play into the points battle now.
And you're seeing these cars look way faster now. In fact, Carly Byrne just set her fastest lap of the race. Last lap. NordVPN fastest lap right now belongs to Nietzsche Garnston.
Like the 6, was that the 6 car on pit road?
Yes. She's on pit road a while. That's big. That's trouble for McJasmina. She's been there for quite a bit. You know, the 9 car is starting to catch up to some lap cars now. There's Bria Delade in the 55 car. This is actually 35th place. And that just shows you how long we've been green. They're starting to catch lappers now. Six cars finally out of pit road. She might have just had some kind of issue getting into her pit stall.
Tire issues, engine issues, and pit issues already in the first stop of this race. And we've got plenty more to come.
And we're just 69 laps into this race. Carly Byrne leads Nihale, Schliesenbach, Yanaga, Yuria, Toleron, Gennaro, Garnston, Malikson, Vebels to the top 10. As things stand at the moment. And Carly Byrne has looked like Carly Byrne has looked like one of the fastest cars all race.
She's been quick as she's sandwiched now between 2 lap cars, sort of stuck in limbo at the moment.
Yeah, she's stuck between those 2 slow cars of Yatica and the Lodge, as she's been trying to get around that 92 for a little bit now, but she has not had much luck doing so. This is a mess of a group back here. That's where Toleron, you got Yuria, Gennaro, Malikson, and Garnston back here. Angeli Rugatino has now made her way up to 10th.
Look at that, 32 almost got into the 99.
Yeah, Rariston almost got into Marisha Vebelst. How about Mimi Barino up here in 13th spot? This car is looking pretty solid. You know, we expect to see Mimi Barino up front at the short tracks. Not really at a mile and a half like this one, but I suppose you'll take him anywhere.
Three laps caution free so far in this race. A completely different race than what we had last night.
Yeah, we had multiple accidents last night. We took out almost half the field by lap 20, by lap 25. Right now, only one car is out of the race, and it's for mechanical issues, not for anything crash related. Carly Byrne still has not been able to get around the 92, and now that's letting Nihale start to close back in again in the 64. She's down to 9/10 of a second behind. Yanfi Yanaga's gotten up to 3rd in that 46 car. Tenth spot up to stake again. Vebels goes underneath Rigatino, and that 96 really lost a lot of momentum on corner exit. I'm not sure if she tapped the wall or something. She did not. She looked very slow exiting the corner. Well, you know what this race is kind of reminding me of is Denver, where we had the long green flag runs. We had aggressive racing, but we had about 130 lap green flag run to start that race off.
Yeah, I mean, these AWSCO races have always sort of been a tale of two halves. We joke about the mid-race break, flipping the script, but it's happened multiple times. Heck, we had it last night. We had a chaotic first half. We had that, I think it was like the last caution was in that mid-race break.
Yep.
and then it was all smooth sailing from then on out. So what you're seeing right now with this clean, exciting racing, not exactly confirmed to be what we're going to see as we get later on into this race.
By the way, shout out Pacelin Yuria in that 82 car. She's running 5th. This is a really good run for Yuria, one of her best runs all season. At least one of her best since she ran up front at Calder Park. Yuria has not had a lot of positive things to talk about this season. Her best finish was a 4th place at the first race of the season in Daytona. She's looking pretty close to equaling that.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a down season, it's always good to have a good run. This is one of those nights for sure, as the 9 has finally gotten past the 92, but she's not making it easy.
No, but that's also letting Nihil kind of draft. Nihil's kind of trickling back now. She's now 2.5 seconds back. It was down. It was under a second not that long ago, but now it's a 2.5 second gap from Byrne to Nihil. Youngwei Ku's right here. That 38 is 4 laps down right now in the middle of these two lead lap cars of Yenfi Yanaga and Lowry Schliesenbach. Yapi Malikson battling with Yuria for the 5th spot here. The 23 car making her move. To try to get up towards the front. Our one caution-free race this year was at Mexico City, and that's a road course. That's nothing like an oval like this one, so.
It's only lap 80. There's still plenty of time for a caution to come out and flip this race on its head.
Absolutely. This is kind of one of those tracks where cautions tend to breed more cautions.
We look now, more great side-by-side racing. 3 looking to get past the 71. That is for...
That's for 13th spot. Maybe Verino and Abby Little.
Tosima with some momentum there now.
Fighting for 9th spot. That's Cinlia Rarison and Nietzsche Garnston.
Comes Mauritia Vebelst as well into the picture there.
Yeah, Vebelst looking at taking 10th away now. Getting back into the top 10, getting by Nietzsche Garnston.
Didn't quite get it at the line. The battle's going to continue through 1 and 2 here, and then down the back straightaway we'll see that 27 gain the momentum on the top lane. Corner exit. They're still side by side down the back.
This has been a great race so far. You know, we're not even halfway yet, but this has been probably one of the best races of the year so far, just for not only how clean it has been, but also because the quality of the racing is very high right now. 6th place at stake, Yuria and Gennaro. 42 gonna hold on to it for now.
Just gets clear up top and slides down to block. I know a lot of people judge races based on the quality of the battle for the lead, but sometimes you gotta look past that. The lead may be 4 seconds, but there are positions changing every single lap here at Kansas tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Just not the lead position right now. Alicia Vancy now trying to pressure Nietzsche Garnston. And we may see 6th at stake again. Here comes Yuria, and this time she's got a much better run. That 82 gets clear of the 42.
Carly Byrne making an early push to lead the most laps today. That would steal a bonus point away from all the playoff drivers.
That would steal 2 bonus points away from the playoff drivers. Because it's 2 bonus points for leading the most laps. Meanwhile, Yenfi Yanaga has been kind of stuck battling this lap car of Youngwei Ku. Ku's on the same tires as these cars, but she's multiple laps down because she had to come to pit road. much earlier than planned. Abby Little, Nietzsche Garnston, 13th spot. See Alicia Byrne back here. You see Alicia Byrne back here as well in the 91 car.
Yeah, she's slowly creeped back up through this field, looking to maybe have a good day as we get later into this race.
Alicia ran pretty solidly at North Wilkesboro last week. Ended up finishing 11th in that race, but still had a pretty solid run. And, you know, neither of the Byrne sisters have won yet this season. Neither of them even made the playoffs. So, you know, maybe she's thinking that she might not want to let Carly get bragging rights on her this early. Meanwhile, third place may actually be at stake pretty soon because the 46 is closing up on the 64 right now. It's about 6 seconds from the 46 to the leader, but the 64 has been dropping time pretty consistently. The 46 is less than a second back of that 64 now.
Yeah, you wonder if maybe that 46 is the car that's going to challenge the 9 as we get maybe towards the end of this run and into the next one. You also got to think, maybe being forced up to the outside lane by that 38 of Youngwei Ku is allowing her to sort of keep momentum through the entire track. That outside lane definitely working as the tires wear out, so... maybe using that lap car to stay dialed in. Now 91 laps into this race.
That 46 is really trying to get past the 38 right now. Sixth place battle again. Gennaro and Giria, they have not wanted to stop fighting, and that's actually kind of letting the 32 and the 99 close in on these two. And Fionaga's still using that top side, trying to catch up to that 64. It's working, I think. She's gotten pretty well clear of the 38 now of Youngwei Ku. Here comes Yanaga for the second position on Jocelyn Nihale. And she's got it. She's gained a good chunk of time at the line, too. There's the two MNC Racing teammates, Abby Little and Felicia Vancy, 13th and 14th right now. They may battle for that position. They may also not battle for that position. Who knows? Yanaga's starting to take chunks out of Carly Byrne's lead, and Carly Byrne also got kind of shuffled around by the 92. She's kind of still in between these two lap cars right now.
See if that 46 gains time on the 9, but she's got that 64 behind her now.
Yeah, they didn't gain time at all, but that's mostly because they were battling each other. Yanaga trying to get back past Youngwei Ku here. Now, I'm sure these cars would like to have the 38 not in the middle of their battle right now, but I guess you can't ask for too much. 99 and 93 now, 9th and 10th. 46 slipping back a little bit. 64 did gain some time there. Yeah, Carly Burns really been stuck between these two because they've been kind of going side by side in front of her, and that's kind of been messing with the arrow a little bit.
Yeah, when you've got lap cars that are just behind you on a pit cycle as opposed to actual slower cars, there's always that risk of having them battling you instead of just letting you by, and that's what's happened here. Is Carly Burns been stuck with the 55 and 92 for what's felt like 30 laps.
It's not even like she's been stuck behind them the whole time. She's just kind of been stuck in between them. Here comes the Uberman Enterprise cars. They're battling each other now. 5th place. That may be a fight we see between Schliesenbach and Uria. Here comes Marisha Webels, too. We've just reached lap 100 now. And still no cautions yet to speak of. So here comes Webelst for the 5th position. She is absolutely sending it right now for those positions. Webelst is being very aggressive. She wants as many points as she can pick up.
Look at all of these cars in this group here.
It's now a 6-second gap from Carly Byrne back to the 2nd place battle between Yanniga and Nihale.
That battle for 5th is, I have 7 cars under a blanket there.
Yeah.
We do get that first caution. I have a feeling it's going to come from this group.
So they're going to come from that group, or it's going to come from somebody with fresh tires running into somebody on old tires.
Yeah, that second pit cycle coming up fast.
We're expecting that second pit cycle in just about 15 laps or so. Yenfi Yanniga trying to get clear of Nihil and finally will. Still 6.5 seconds behind Carly Byrne, the leader. Here comes Irina Tosima. And again, all the RR cars except for the 39 right now looking really strong. 93 and 99 battling each other for that spot in the top 5. I think a big thing that Carly Byrne has going for her is that she has the draft of those lap cars, and that's kind of helping her pull along. She's still gaining time on Yanniga. Tosima got clear of Webelst for 5th. Right now, it's a bit of a lull out front. Carly Byrne with almost a 7-second advantage now, actually. See Gennaro, Rariston fighting here for 7th. We got this mess back here from 9th on back. Treviso Tolaron, Schliesenbach, you got Yuria, Barino, Vancy, Alicia Byrne, and Abby Little back here. There's Perry Alicantes, last week's winner. She's running 16th right now, just kind of laying back a little bit, I think.
Yeah, we mentioned that at the top of the broadcast. 18 car doesn't need to win to get into the next round. She's already there. May as well just collect some data, keep the car clean, and get that mile-and-a-half car ready for Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon's going to be crucial for her. Going to be crucial for everyone, really, because Oregon's the first race of the second round. Oh, the 55.
That's another playoff car taken out with an engine issue. That
Yeah.
looks like it's going to be the end of her day.
It definitely is. And Bria DeLaude with engine troubles. That will most likely end her day. And you know, I think that a big thing that I was talking about, the 9 car, Carly Byrne, she was kind of drafting off the 55 and the 92. She doesn't have that anymore. And also, she just has the 92 in front of her. 6.5 seconds. Vonnega's closed in a little bit. It's going to take quite a bit, though, I think, for somebody to actually challenge that 9 car, though.
It's going to take a slow pit stop from that 9.
Addison, what do you got for us?
Well, on the 55 car, they have pulled it in. They are done for the day. They had 2 issues going at once, actually. There was a issue on piston number 5, apparently. There are also exhaust issues. DeLaude inside the car, feeling ill initially, told the team, "I think there's something wrong. I'm feeling fumes in my car." And they told her, take it in, and they're done for the day. Thankfully, she's all right, but a big setback in the playoffs here.
Yep, that's not something you want, especially to fall out early like this here. She's going to end up 39th. That's going to be 2 playoff cars now that make up the bottom 2 spots.
Eagerly await those next pit stops. They should be coming up soon.
About 5 to 10 laps is when I'd expect them to start. Car's just kind of being a little patient here with the lap cars, I think. Don't really overwork them too much if you don't have to. I think there are definitely cars in the field right now that are faster than this 9 car, but she just has the advantage of having, well, a huge lead. We may see a fight for third here soon, as the 23 and the 93 are both closed up on the 64.
Like that 23's got a lot of momentum. She's going to carry it to the inside, but it gets blocked by the 64.
Now Malikson will take the spot. So 23 car up to 3rd place. You know, Carly Byrne did lose a lot of time on that last pit stop. So that could be something that Yanaga's looking towards. Yabi Malikson and Irina Tosima have both gotten by Jocelyn Nihale. There's the 2 MNC teammates fighting for 14th, Little and Vancy. You know, for Bria Delage, she came in as the last car in at the cut line. She was only plus 10. 9 cars pitting. Carly Byrne is coming
Here
down
we
pit
go.
road.
She was the first one to pit last time around, so
Yep.
not surprising to see her being the first one coming in this time.
46 will lead.
46 stays out.
Pretty much everybody
Good
else
luck
looks like they're
there.
going to stay out as well. .46 going to choose to stay out another lap here. And a lot of these cars, I think, may be trying the overcut a little bit. Maybe let the 9 car get ahead on tires for a little bit, but not for too long. By the way, look at the 18 Perry Alicantes. She's actually moved her way up to 6th. She's battling Mimi Barrino. Madison, you got anything?
I do. Vibration on the 16 car was due to 3 loose lug nuts on the left front. I'm not exactly sure how that happened. I suppose just during the run they must have had some bad adjustment and then it just knocked the lug nuts loose. But that's what I'm hearing from the team. Team is back out on track, but a huge setback in this part of the race.
She actually has not come down pit road yet, so I'm not sure how she has 3 loose lug nuts out there and still running.
They might be loose, but they haven't fallen off yet.
That's true. Yappy Malikson right now the leader. She's got Tosima kind of be right behind her. There's Yenfi Yanaga. Malikson, Tosima, Rariston, Alicantes, Barrino. As we got cars coming down pit road, Rariston's coming down pit road. We may have a battle. This is for the lead, technically, is the 38, or the 93 and the 23.
Expect both of those cars to probably make their way down pit road.
Fairly soon. And 93, I think, is staying out another lap. Yep, they're both staying out another lap, actually, so that will be a bonus point that goes to the 93 of Irenia Tosima. And now the pit strategy is starting to spread out quite a bit because the 9 came in really early. She was the first one down. I'm not sure I like that now when everyone was... I think the 19 and 64 might have made some contact. But, finishing my point, from the 9 car, I'm thinking, maybe that's not that great of an idea, being out there on the freshest tires. The 93 and 23 are out there very long right now, and that's going to hurt them in the short term. But that could really benefit them in the long term.
I was going to say, we know that 23's fast in the long run, so maybe having like super the freshest tires of everybody on track is maybe the strategy she's trying to play here.
There goes the 9 car by those 2. You know, the 9 car, she's got about 7 lap older tires than these other cars, and I'm not sure. I think 7 laps may be a little too much. I mean, you never know, but... Apparently the 62 of Halis Jukovic has stayed out, and she's actually still on the track right now. 62.
But
Will
she's
be coming down pit
finally
road.
hitting pit road.
Nine car has about a 12-second lead on the 46 right now. Oh, caution! Caution is out.
Caution.
There's a car. Oh, Vancy
Oh,
just
and it's a
got
huge
drilled.
wreckage. Fancy upside down.
Abby Little spins
Battered
around.
by the 93 and 71.
Irina
That's multiple
Tosima
playoff
has big
drivers
damage.
involved.
Little gets hit again by Stoneman. Vebels, Davison,
They're piling up
Cole,
on the back
Rariston.
straightaway. Here is the chaos.
Oh, Carly
We're all
Byrne!
done. Carly Burns.
The
in it.
9 car, the
Leader
leader
all
just
day.
ran into it.
And this entire race has just been turned upside down. We got cars still running into each other on the backstretch trying to get slowed down. 32 is involved. Looks like the 99's got damage. This is going to be another one of those wrecks where it's going to be easier to figure out who wasn't in it.
I don't even know who the leader is. That's how confused I am right now.
Who is leading this race?
No clue. Think we're gonna see when
Most of the leaders were involved in the wreck and are on pit road right now. I don't know if there's a car in this field that doesn't have damage.
All right, well, we'll figure it out when we figure it out.
Looks like it might be the 46, but we will
Well, she's on pit road still.
see as they cycle around. Alexson's got damage. Got cars without hoods. It's the 39. Halverson, 34 with damage. I genuinely think we might have involved the entire field in that one.
We'll see if we can figure it out. Once they cross the line here, we will get official word on who the leader is. It could be the 19, but I'm not very sure. In fact, it's not the 19. She's a lap down. Well, that, was certainly something. Alright. Official word on who the leader is. It is the 42 of Mika Gennaro. Everybody in front of her right now would be a car that gets waved around.
And there it is. We said that a caution can change everything, and it just did.
Well, that just took out the car that had been dominating the race. So, Gennaro, Malikson, Yukovic, Alacantes, Yanaga, Schliesenbach, Alicia Byrne, Gabi Gabriella, Nihale, and Barino the top 10 as things stand.
Well, you said last night you haven't seen a wreck bigger, and I think we just did. That was wild.
We are going to take a look at that. I'm going to pause. Oh, they ran into the 6 who was on old tires. That's what happens. And the
And
one
the
just
intern
backs up
one.
across the field. Oh, the 96.
Ooh. Hard
Tosima
hit
little.
broadside and gets nailed in the front end by the 93. Well, she's already upside down.
Yappy Malixon somehow managed to get through
Pilot
that,
then
but I don't think.
continues.
How did the 9 get involved? She was on the apron. Oh, the 71 just comes down right in front of her.
Hard into the back of Abby Little. And then I think it.
And not the kind
sort
of hard into the back you want if you're Abby Little.
More cars running into each other on the back straightaway.
I think Yabby Malixon got through it the first time, and they were still wrecking, and she gets into it again, and she gets into it back here. Yes. Very lightly.
It's the wreck it's the long one at Kansas.
Yeah. I mean, we gotta call it Kansas Nights now, I guess.
I think we need to go. We'll probably need to go back at the end of this race and count how many cars were involved in that, or count how many cars weren't involved in that wreck. It looks like
Is there a single car that wasn't involved? I actually don't know. There might not have. There might not be.
38 through how much have retired from this race?
6 cars
38
done.
Through, I think
23rd.
38 through 23rd.
I don't
Then
know
we've
if the
got cars
38
on
is
the
still
lead lap.
running. Oh, the 38 is still running.
Good
So
call.
so there are 23 cars running right now and 19 on the lead lap. Well, it was looking like a clean race, and the 42 has had a problem before the restart while leading. And that hands the lead to Yappy Malixon, except it technically
miss
doesn't
pit
because
road.
she didn't come to pit road?
The green flag goes.
Or green.
There
Well,
goes the 42.
The 42 did lead them to the line. I think the 62 might have not gotten any damage from this. Halis Yukovic takes the lead here from Kansas. And just before halfway, a huge wreck changed the entire complexion of this thing. 42's finally made it to pit road. I think the 23 might actually be okay on speed right now.
If we go 38th to 23rd on cars that were retired from the race, that's already 15 cars involved in that wreck. And then you count the amount of cars with damage. I think we got to be at least 30.
Honestly, I don't even know. Madison.
Right. So we just had that massive wreck, yeah? The 42 team thought they were just fine, saying, yeah, we might have got involved a little bit, but we'll have the lead on the restart. And then over the radio, driver says, I've got a puncture. Ran over a piece of debris on the backstretch, and the 42 car is now pit road, back in the race, but with a huge setback after that puncture. Very unfortunate, and yeah, now we have the 62 in the lead. Quite dramatic.
Of all the times to have a tire go down. Right before the restart.
Leading right before the restart. You know, a lot of these cars that look like they have a little bit of damage still look fairly okay on speed. The 18 still looks pretty strong. You're seeing the 8 car. She's running 3rd right now with no rear bumper. Abby Malixon's got a bit of a dent in the front end, but otherwise looks somewhat okay here. Andrea Davison in the 22 car. We're looking for cars that look fairly clean. The 62 looks fairly clean. The 91 looks somewhat clean. 19 looks pretty good right now. The 42 looks okay. 22 looks okay to me. 72 looks okay as well, I think. So does the 2. I take that back about the 2. 92 looks okay, though. 26.
Right now, AWSCO seems to have the advantage of having really the only clean car in this lead pack.
Yeah.
It's going to be a matter of keeping it clean for the rest of this race, and I think she's in a good spot.
I think Yappy Malikson's car is okay, honestly. She looks like she's keeping decent pace. She's only about a 10th off the 62 right now. But right now, AWSCO, winner back at Daytona and at Richmond just a few weeks ago, leading the way here in Kansas. A massive accident just before halfway took out 15 cars. We will have more for you in our mid-race report with Rosh and Madison, where they will break down, well, just what they think about what's happened here. You two, what do you got?
What in the world did we just watch?
I don't know either. As if that wreck wasn't enough, then I do think that literally the entire field was involved. We will see after the race. The 42, of course, with that puncture, I'm speechless. What about you?
Yeah, I got nothing as well. I mean, I guess we have 20 fewer cars in this race now. I know that, Bombshell. Welcome to the rest of the.
Didn't we also... Right. Yes. Welcome to the mid-race report, and I think we did say earlier that this would be a combination, this Kansas Speedway event of chaos and good racing. Well, we had the good racing.
We've had
but
both
not
already.
The chaos until lap 127.
Yeah, we've had both now.
True.
Yeah, I mean,
Have you got much to say about the race as it
not
stands
much
so
right.
far
I
with
mean,
the
right,
half field
there's,
left?
there's not much right now I can say. We're kind of early into the second half of the race. And there's not much to say other than we have 20-something cars left, and, well, one of the cars in the top 5 doesn't even have a rear end. We're watching right now the 42, who is a lap down. But looking at this, that car right here, the 8 of Lori Schliesenbach, has no rear end and is in third place, bearing down on second. The 62 seems to have run away with things a little bit here. Looking at the rest of our pack here, I mean, look at what's going on here. That there's cars with no front ends in the top 10 battle. Everything's kind of gone awry at this point. I don't know what to expect here at the second half of the race, because we've basically just wiped everything clean. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. There seems to be.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Of course, we saw Vancy go flying in that wreck, and, well, quite the thing that happened. We could talk about green flag pistoffs, maybe. Unlike last week at North Wilkesboro, we actually had them.
Yeah, we had a green flag. We've had green flag cycles at least. I mean, that's seemingly going to be an important part of this race again. I think it'll definitely play a role into which one of these cars in the top 5 will prevail in the end. 8 of Schliesenbach, definitely the damage isn't really doing much to her in terms of pace. She's still here, up in second now, past the 23 of Yappy Malikson. So, we'll see. We'll just have to see what happens. I mean, that 8 car seemingly with a little bit of damage, it doesn't really seem to be hurting it too much in terms of a competitive standpoint. But right now, it's all the 62. Oh, Halas Jukovic, as things stand. Yep, stands at 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, and you mentioned Schliesenbach having no rear end. I think I did mention that last week at North Wilkesboro. That is actually one of the tolerable damages you can have because less drag, but you're also really not losing that much downforce. But it's
Yeah.
a combination with other sorts of damage that it is a serious problem. I don't know exactly what's happened with the 8 necessarily in terms of damage, but no doubt she was involved in that wreck, probably from multiple angles. And yeah, as you mentioned, still losing not that much time to the 62, but still losing some distance. Really, Jukovic might be the only car that wasn't involved, so I'm not confident in that. So, if any of you go after me after the race saying, no, Jukovic was involved, how could you say that? Or the opposite? Well, she's the fastest car out here, clearly.
Yeah. Gap holding fairly steady here. Still 3.5 seconds. Bumped up a few tenths there. 62, obviously, a nice clean air. Can just kind of do whatever right now. Manage her pace. Looking at Halas Jukovic in the standings right now, she is. I mean, Jukovic has probably been one of the more consistent drivers we've seen this season. Has 2 wins. Has 2 wins already. Obviously, won the Daytona 500 to start the season off, but also won at I believe that was Iowa later. Yeah, Richmond, I should say, late in the season. So 2 wins, kind of nearly bookending the regular season, I guess. Finished 20th at North Wilkesboro right now, still above the cut line, but looking to add that win to add for insurance. Looking at our top 5, so let's see here. 22 and 23 are also looking for that. Malakson also looking for her first win of the season. This will be an odd place for it to happen, I think. And look at the rest of our top 10. Yarsaraj is up for a very good day as well. Started the day below the cut line, 12 below. 55 wasn't even in that wreck because she had already retired from an engine failure earlier. So this is looking really good for the 98 team. And the 34 and 64 are still in it, and well, they were already above the cut line as well. So a bit of a mix of drivers who did well. Bit of a mix of drivers in terms of the ones we have left that are still in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, definitely playoffs with some radical impacts by this. You mentioned we noticed earlier it's a lot with the piston and the fumes in that 55 car out, and it looks like Fancy might be the one who could gain most from it, having started on the front row, albeit falling further back, and then, well, that happened. So I think as far as any playoff predictions for this Kansas race goes, just toss them out. It's over. Nothing is going to happen the way you hoped it to. Unless you're a fan of 2 or 3 drivers, and good for you, I guess. But yeah, it's a mess right now. I think we'll have more in the post-race show as far as just how things end up.
Yeah, that's the thing right now. We've eliminated so much of the field out. There's not as much to talk about now, given that there's only a few cars left in contending form. Plus now, it's basically a brand new race. That's the thing.
It is, and a smaller field too. It's like we've taken AWSCO and just made it off, pretty much, half the field.
Yeah. I was watching the 72 and 34 here. This is the battle for 7th place. Aurina already well into the playoffs here. Looking to add that gap here. We'll see if we'll see how these drivers end up in points wise, because a lot of these drivers are set to really profit from this situation. Looking at the battle at the edge of the top 10 here. A bunch of drivers, a few in the playoffs, a few out of it. 26 of Shantose moving up here, passing a few cars to enter the top 10. I believe that'll put her in 9th place now. If she wasn't in the lead lap, I think she's actually running a lap down, yes. She's 19th at the moment, but still pretty quick as well. We'll see if that car is able to get herself back on the lead lap. Izai Javida as well, good opportunity for her, running in 4th right now. As we see, the 8 now has dropped a little bit now. Maybe that damage is finally starting to wear in a little. Maybe a little bit of long, maybe a little bit slower on the long run as a result. But as on the other hand, the 98's picked up a well of speed, up to 6th now. Maybe a top 5 is on the cards for Yarshraj. It would be a very good recovery day from that. It's set to be a good recovery day for Mason Parker. We mentioned that 2 of their cars had problems at North Wilkesboro. The two that are in the playoffs that aren't the 18, both of them are still running here. We saw the 19 kind of battling at the fringe of the top 10, as the 98 here is set to enter the top 5. It'll be what a day it's gonna be for these MPM cars if they can just hang on to it. Madison? Oh.
I really don't have much else to say, because else I'd just be a broken record at this point.
Yeah.
I think some of the battles here could get very interesting. We are seeing Schliesenbach catch back up here to the back of the 98. And of course, 62 car now over 5 seconds in the lead. There is a good battle for second if we could have a look at that. Well, looks like Malkson is now ahead of Davison. I imagine that battle could close back up with the lap car up there of the 42. But yeah, just what do you say after whatever that was on lap 127?
Yeah.
Fan picks?
Well, I think, yeah, we're gonna say it'll be time to go ahead into our fan picks here. Lots to talk about, of course. Lots to look forward to, but definitely gonna be shooting at the dark a little bit here with some of these picks. I am gonna go with the 23 of Yappy Malkson the car that we are looking at right now. The only the caveat I'm looking at this team is there is a little bit of front end damage. We'll see how much that affects the team in as the run gets even longer. Maybe towards the very end of the run, that car might have a little bit of trouble, but pace-wise, at least on the short to medium run, it doesn't seem like it's affected the 23 team too much. And, I mean, what a golden opportunity it would be for this 23 team to finally get that win. They've been great all season, of course, just like the 2 drivers they're racing up against. But still, still doesn't have that win. But 6 top 5s and 10 top 10s. Looks set for at least another top 10 today. Probably a top 5. Maybe that win is on their cards. They're going to have to play their strategy game right. Or maybe hope for a yellow somewhere in this race to kind of balance things out with the 62. But definitely watch out for the 23 and both of these red racing cars, I think, as the race in the second half of the race.
Honestly, you mentioned Malkson as your fan pick. I'm going to go with Davison, who just passed her here. You saw that 22 close her way up and get by, and running second now. I think we'll have to see how she handles in the free air, especially as the run goes, but assuming that we don't have that many more cautions, which, I mean, anything can happen in AWSCO, but given we have only half the field left and most of them are just dying ants and coughing babies, basically, I think it'd be reasonable to assume that, there won't be too much more chaos. I would probably assume Davison's have at least a good run, if not a win.
Yeah, definitely these 2 red racing cars are probably going to be in the mix for the race win, as we see things start to shake up a little bit as Javida and Yarsharaj coming through, even dragging Schliesenbach back into the mix. So there's definitely going to be a lot of picks, but surprised that 62 has been unclaimed. Maybe one of the one of the guys in our booth will probably take the 62 as we'll take things over to them now for their fan picks and the second half of the race. I've been Russia. Thank you. Alongside Madison here in the FanDuel Fan Studio. We'll see you guys at the end of the race as well for our post-race reports.
Yeah, Liam, you got yourself a fan pick here?
All right. Well, I mean, at this point in the race, I don't know how you pick against Halis Jukovic. Cleanest car in the field, the only car really without damage on the racetrack, and she's currently 6 seconds into the lead. I imagine all the other cars, when they come down pit road, are going to have some form of damage that they're going to try and repair. So a quick pit stop is going to be crucial for that 62 team to stay out in the lead. But I think as long as this thing goes green like the rest of the way through, which I'm hoping it does, I got that T-Mobile machine taking it to victory lane.
Well, I'm going to take the 98 of Ava Jarsaraj, and the reason is simple. She has been flying through the field almost faster than that 62. That 98 has honestly looked a little bit faster than the 62. She's been really good on the mile and a half this year. She doesn't look too badly damaged. I think Ava Jarsaraj is one of the cars. I think she's going to be the one who gets this done. Maybe with a little help from a yellow, maybe not. I don't know. But I think it's the 98. She has been flying, and I think it's hers. With that being said, how about Isa Javida running second right now? She's actually looking pretty solid. A lot of those cars that got waved around had to work up through a good chunk of the field to get to the front, but they're starting to get up there again. Perry Alicante sitting 12th right now. Again, not really too much for her to be worried about, I think. Despite the damage to that car, she's still looking pretty solid. But Jukovic is out front by 7 seconds.
7:20, the difference to the leader, but I mean, it's still a battle here for those remaining positions. The 22, sorry, being held up by that
the 42.
car. That's allowing the 2 of Isa Javida to sort of work her way in here.
62 just lost a bunch of time that lap. I'm not sure what happened, but she dropped from about 7.2 seconds up to 6.6 up. Not sure if that was just a blip or... I guess it must have been a blip because she gained that time. But I think that the 98 is I think the 98 is the fastest of these three, to be honest. Here comes Javida. You know, damaged cars being lap traffic may also help them catch up to the 62 here. She's kind of starting to approach the lap cars a little bit. These cars are going to be a bit slow.
The Hoodless Wonders, the Modifieds, those are the next cars in front.
Yep.
Of Halis Jukovic. You've got the 31. She looks like she's going to get clean by that. And then the 39 of
Lily Talberson.
Next in row there.
You got to feel bad for Carly Byrne. This looked like a race that she was going to sail away and win by a lot. And
yeah, just caught up in that whole mess. I mean,
yeah.
Terrible luck.
Javida's taken second back. Davieson's third. Ajar Saraj, Schliesenbach, Malikson. The rest of the top 6. Mika Harina, Handstrom, Nihale, and Parking's the top 10. This is a bit of a messy group back here. This is a bunch of cars all back here. Ajar Saraj tried to get underneath Davieson, but nothing going there. Carly Byrne had a 12-second lead on Yenfi Yanega before the incident. In turn 2. Might we see Jukovic build something like that up?
The difference was Byrne had that lead coming off around a pit cycle.
Yeah.
This is purely on speed. Zarshaw is still trying the bottom to take away third spot. Davieson holds on the outside and clears, takes back P3. 2 lap cars in front of this group. They're currently racing side by side, so not what these guys want to see at all.
The 99 is a little off the pace, in fairness here, but... Oh, she's gonna get in front of them, though, and check them up. That's not what you want.
There goes Davison to the inside for second. She looks like she gets clear.
She's clear. Javid is third. Ajar Siraj is fourth. Schliesenbach is fifth. Alexson sixth. It's still a mess back here. Battles back here are for position. There's 10th place at stake between Yantika and Alicia Byrne. Who is managing to still be alive? And Yantika being put a lap down. 20 cars on pit road. And I would expect us to start seeing green flag pit stops again around this time. One's coming to pit road in front of these cars. So yeah, we are starting to see pit stops are coming in here.
Yeah, hopefully with less cars on the racetrack, these pit stops will go a bit smoother than the last ones did.
Yeah. '22's in. She's gonna be the early adopter here. Gonna try to get the undercut there. Meanwhile, Ajar Siraj trying to take spot from Ajavida. I mean, I'm not really sure what Halis Jukovic has to lose here from staying out very long. She's got a 9-second lead. So the 18 was in. 62's still out on the track. 98's leading the 2 right here. Starting to pull away just a little bit. 62's still out there. You know, if I'm one of these cars that's still out here, if I'm one of these cars that's trying to chase down that 62, I think I would pit a little early. Try and undercut a little bit. The 62's coming in early. The 62 comes in late. I think it might not be too bad of an idea to try the undercut. '98's in. 62 is still on track, I believe. Yes, she is. The thing I'm going to be very curious about, how much time are you making up on those fresh tires? Take a look at the 22's last lap. She ran a 29.0. The 62's last lap. Where is she? I can't find her anymore. She ran a 31.0. So you're making up 2 seconds a lap with fresh tires. She's coming in.
Now coming in.
She's coming down. Eight car has stayed out, so Schliesenbach will hold the lead. .38 car appears to be having more issues. Eight car got checked up behind that 38, who's already having issues, so. Does look like most of these cars that came down did not spend any extra time trying to, Ooh, very interesting here. Because the 22 came in so early, look where the 62 is. That's not that big of a gap. 22 did a really good job closing that up.
Only problem is that the 62 is still going to have the fresher tires as we get
She's
later
going to have the
in this
fresher
run.
tires, but only by 4 or 5 laps. That's not going to kick in for a little bit.
It's going to be down to Davison to
Yeah,
make
it's
the
only
best
a
of this situation.
Yeah, look at that. Davison made up almost 7 seconds on the track.
She can get into the draft of that 62. We might have a race on our hands.
She might already be in the draft here. Yeah, I think that 22 could be one you might want to watch here. She did a really good job there on that pit cycle, and keep in mind, we do still have another pit stop left in this race. Just under a second back of the 62 right now. But the 2 and the 98 are still about 8 seconds back. Those two didn't really gain that much time on the 62. 23 sitting back in 5th. There's Harina in 6th. Parkings, Yatica, Schliesenbach, and Alicantes make up the rest of the top 10. Here comes the 98 on the 2. That's for 3rd spot. That spot on the podium right here. That holds, that would be all three of podium spots held by playoff drivers. Still just barely under a second for Davison to Jukovic. But again, Davison made up a good amount of time on Jukovic, so I'm not sure. I don't think this is particularly over by any means. Now keep in mind, Davison also won at a mile and a half like this. She won back at Charlotte. Javida does not have a win this year. Yappy Malakson doesn't have a win this year. Harina got a win at Motegi, another high tire wear track. High tire wear mile and a half. Although that one's way different than this one. Ooh, 62's kind of getting held up by lap traffic right now. That could let the 22 gain a decent amount here. It didn't really do anything. Jarsuraj sitting 3rd. There's Javida. Eva Jarsuraj is well clear of the 2 car now. And, hey, for Jarsuraj, this is pretty much the run she needed if she didn't want to have to go to Watkins Glen and basically be forced to win next week. She's done exactly what she's needed to do, despite all these, well, circumstances, to put it lightly. Now the 22 is starting to slip a little bit. She's starting to lose a bit of time. But again, if the 22 can do the same thing that she did on this run, if she can at least stay at least somewhat close to the 62's times and use that for the final stop, I think the 22 could be a player for the win. Madison?
Right. Well, we have a 2-for-1 tonight. So the 8 car, they have a vibration as well, but this explanation is a bit more plausible than it was on the 16 earlier this race. Their vibration is understandably due to the damage suffered in the crash earlier. I guess it was more significant than we presumed on the mid-race show. And of course the 38 with the tire down. Just a bit of a slow leak that happened after running some debris over the caution. A very slow leak, but a leak is still a leak. So tire down, and they definitely with a huge setback. Oh, 39 is a problem.
Speaking of issues, it looks like the 39's down on the apron.
Yeah, that's another car with issues. That's, we'll see if she makes it back.
It was engines last night. It looks like it might be tires tonight.
And you gotta wonder about what Goodyear's done with these tires that have a little bit higher wear composition on them. Gotta just remember that a little bit. That might be throwing some of these teams for a loop here. Maybe not expecting a tire like this to be run. Still, the gap remains about 1.5 seconds between the 62 and the 22. '39 did make it to pit road, so we'll stay green there. Schlesenbach fighting with Alicia Byrne for the 9th position right now. Not a lot of battles going on track right now. Meanwhile, Eva Jarsaraj has actually been... Oh, then never mind. And I just had to say something, didn't I?
Oh, and that's another issue.
Oh, the 60, and there's another issue.
60's blowing up. Everybody's losing it now.
Interesting theory I have. 98 makes it back. She gets back out there. She could be good to the end on fuel. Very, very close, but she could be good to the end. Madison, you got reports on everybody?
Well, I was bragging about that 2-for-1 combo earlier. Now it's a 3-for-1 combo. Not that that's a good thing. 39 car had a tire go down. That was primarily due to wear. I think debris could have been involved, but the team has not found anything leading to that conclusion. 98 quite similar, especially getting later into the run. Perhaps also a tire up to some degree on that. I could absolutely believe that. Team was a bit uncertain as to exactly what caused it. But the 60 did not have a tire go down. It was an engine problem. So, yeah, I don't really have much word on what that is yet. I think it's an exhaust again, similar to what the 55 had from what I'm hearing initially from radio transcripts, but I will have a bit more on that, and hopefully we don't have a 4-for-1 combo for the next set of pit reports.
Hopefully not. Unless it's just routine pit stops. I mean, I think I'd accept a 4-for-1 there.
I'd hope we get more than 4-for-1 for routine pit stops.
Well, if we were doing routine pit stops, we're probably getting a 22-for-1. I was going to say 23, but I forgot the 60 dropped out.
I mentioned the 98 and 38 wouldn't be coming in, so.
I don't believe the 98... Well, I don't know. It really depends how much fuel she's got. I'm not sure if she has enough fuel to get to the end. It would be very close on the 98. She'll be fast. She'll have tires. And this may be a spot where I'd be a little worried because this is pretty much how we saw the caution come out last time. It's one of these cars with fresh tires kind of bowling through some cars, causing an accident. Long story short, I'd still be a bit concerned about the 98 overdoing things. '22 is really starting to taper off now as we get a little later into the run.
Still the leader.
62 is still leader. She's been leader for forever. It feels like.
That's what it felt like with the 9, and we saw how that happened. So, a lot can still change here with just over 50 laps left in this race.
Yep. About 57 laps to go. 58, I think. Something like that. I'm not great at math when I have to, like, think about it for very little amounts of time. You're gonna have a fight for fourth here soon. Here comes Janet Parkings. The 72 is slowly starting to show up right now. Keep an eye on this 72. If we get if we get a yellow, I wouldn't be surprised if that 72 does something interesting. Right now, the podium looks like Jukovic, Davison, Ijavida. Here's the fourth place battle again. Parking's trying to take that spot from Yappy Malikson. 23 still holding on the top. Trying to hold off the 72, but it looks like Parkings will get that spot. Here's the 98.
This would have been a battle for position earlier on in the race. It's now.
It's not right now, but that's
past some cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, 98's passing lead lap cars because again she has those fresh tires. So. You know, we're kind of in the window now. We are in that window where you would for sure be good on fuel, I'm pretty sure. They're one of these cars that's still out here right now. Do you think about maybe trying to pit now? and get ahead of the 62 in that way.
I mean, this is going to be that big strategy call. This is that point in the race where the Hail Marys are going to be thrown.
I'm expecting stops around lap 240. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some cars maybe undercut that about 235, somewhere around there. And especially if the 62 goes long again like she did last time, that could be a real factor as well. The 98 has made up a very considerable amount of time in terms of these fresh tires, but the key thing to think about here is she's very questionable on fuel. '64 car of Nihil has just gone a lap down. That's the 10th place car. Still, we're running with more cars in the lead lap than there were around this point in the Continental race. We're also past the point that the Continental race ended, so...
We're up on lap 220 now.
7.4 seconds now, Davidson's trails. .51. Yeah, that strategy of trying to shortcut it, I think worked a little bit in the short term, but it's not going to work if you can't keep with the 62. If you're a playoff car, if you're a playoff car that's still in the race right now, I think you're just trying to get the best finish you can. For the 62, I mean, I feel like it's pretty much locked up if you're the 62, unless something happens. Which, I would not be surprised if we saw something very odd happen at the end of this.
The last two drivers to lead this race before the 62 have had some sort of issue, whether it be a wreck or a tire go down. So all signs point to the 62 eventually having an issue here.
Don't want to be the harbinger of doom here, though. Davison
No,
actually gained a little bit of
not.
time. 22 is actually down up to 7.2 seconds back. 98's caught up to the 62.
Djokovic's been doing everything right so far. She just needs to keep on that straight and narrow, and she's got a great shot at winning this race.
Not sure how you could go against her right now. The only way someone's going to beat her is if they out-strategize her. It's got to be some kind of circumstance. I think if the 98's going to win, she's got to get a yellow right during that point where the 62 has come down pit road, where everybody's come down pit road, except for the 98. She gets a yellow, she gets tires, and she kind of just tries to drive through the field. But I think that might be a bit of a lofty expectation, or a hope even, really. She catches up to a slow lap car. 8 seconds.
Laps down is that 98 car 2 or now 1, I guess?
She's 1, actually. Or the 98?
Tail end of 1 lap
She's
down.
1 lap down, yes. What you don't want to be if you're the 98 is you don't want to be the caution. Seven and a half seconds. Davidson's starting to pick up the pace a little bit again. Yappy Malikson at 4th right now, 17 seconds behind the lead. Janet Parking's in 5th. You got Mika Harina 6th, Mikhail Yatka 7th, Laurie Schlissenbach 8th, Alicia Byrne is 9th, and that's it for the lead lap cars. There's where Javida is, sitting 3rd. Davidson's kind of holding the gap where it was before the last pit cycle. But I'm not really sure she can make it go much faster right now. I think if anybody's gonna have a chance, it's probably gonna be that 98. She's gonna have to get real lucky for that to happen. But pit stops are coming up soon. We're probably gonna see about pit stops in about 10 or so laps. Maybe a little sooner if some cars want to chance it a little bit, but...
This is the money stop coming up. This is going to be what sets you on track to the end of this race.
Absolutely. You want to have a good pit stop this time. Well, you don't just want, you need it. Sixth place battle. That's Yatika and Harina.
If we look, it's now over 8.5 seconds. Almost 9 seconds, actually.
Yeah, it's almost a
22
9-second gap now. Yukovic is really building it up.
It's gonna take I think it's gonna take a caution.
I agree, honestly. I don't think there's anything else that would change this race.
We saw it happen last night. That caution around halfway that set us on track to have about a 5-car battle to the finish the entire way through.
Yeah, and of course that one ended with Izzy Oberman winning. Ten seconds the gap from Yukovic back to Davison now.
Interested to see where Ajar Sharaj is in terms of the lap down cars now.
There's where she is. She's 16th right now.
Made her way past 2 of them. So a lot of work yet to do.
Probably won't take too long. She's kind of driving through everybody now. And keep in mind, the tire fall off is a lot bigger at the end of the run. Yet if I'm Davison here, I pit now. I want to come in now and hope that the 62 doesn't respond right away, because that's my only shot if I'm Davison.
Especially 10 seconds back now. You need to get those fresh tires.
20 car pitting.
20's in.
Not tremendously surprising. She's a lap car, so they tend
Doesn't
to.
look
They
like
usually
the
tend to
62's
pit
coming in.
earlier.
We'll see where Davison goes.
I thought she was pitting, but nope.
I thought so as well, but that's just the slowness of those old tires.
She actually didn't lose too much time that time. Our Jarsaraj right here now. She's actually closing up on the 19 of Arlen Hanstrom. That is one of her teammates, actually. There's a 20 exiting.
Nobody else hitting pit lane yet. Rush gets by Handstrom. Now needs to get by the lead lap car of Yappy Malikson.
Yep, she should probably be able to do that pretty easily. I think Davison's got to pit as soon as she can. We're approaching about 60 laps since she came in. And that's been kind of the marker where they come in usually. 26, Chantaze is in. She's not on the lead lap. There is somebody else on the pit road. That's the 31 of Taylor Happeman. She's also off the lead lap. Lead lap cars are coming in, though. That's Parking's Yatika Harina is in. 18, Alacantes looks like she's pitting.
See where that 92 is at, or 62, sorry, is at.
22's in.
22 is in. Looks like the 62 is
Staying out
this time.
If I'm the 98, what I'm gonna want here is, if I'm the 98, I want to stay out as long as I can.
Hope for a caution.
Hope for a caution. That's her only shot, pretty much.
She's the first car one lap down now. So
First car one lap down, and as once the 62 comes in, 62's in now. Okay, so the 62 did eliminate the gap between her and the 22. She only came in about 2 or so laps afterwards.
yeah, because if a caution comes out now, the 98 has unlapped herself. She can pit under caution.
She can
She'll
pit under
be at
caution.
the tail end of that lead lap group.
Yeah. And she has unlapped herself officially now. But all these cars are have fresh tires and are on the lead lap. Where's the 62? Oh, she's exiting now. Okay. The 8 car was in as well with the 62 there. 62's exiting here. 98 is the leader, I believe.
As it stands currently, yes, I believe she is the leader. But
She has
is
cycled to being the
well
leader,
off
but
cycle.
she won't be the leader for very long, though. Not on pace. Yep, look at that. 98 of Ajar Swaraj is the leader right now, but she's not going to hold that for very long. She might not even hold that for more than a lap here.
Gap
She's
to
going to
22.
really need to hope for a caution.
I was going to say gap to the 22 is still about 10 seconds.
Still about 10 seconds.
definitely a bit too late pitted for Davison there.
Yep. Nukovic will blow by on the outside right now to the 98, and that will put the 62 back in the lead. .42 just came in.
Caution, and she needs it now.
Jarosraj needs the caution as soon as possible. Pretty much any time within the next... within the next 15 laps, I think. Otherwise, she'll probably have to come to pit road under green and lose those 2 laps.
We're coming down to the end of this race as well.
Might have a fight for a second. Here comes Javida looking at Davison. And it's about a second off the 62's lap times. Not a tremendous surprise there, but I think this is the car we're gonna watch is the 98 of Ajarsaraj, because she's got to get a caution, and I'm not sure she's gonna get that yellow now. She's pretty much the only one on that tire cycle. .22's started to close a little bit of time, but it's not really enough to make much of a difference right now.
9 seconds 93, the closest she's been in about 20 laps.
Yep. But she may have to fend off the 2 of Ijavida now.
And they're both going to be stuck behind the 99.
They still gain time though that lap. .98 trying her hardest to hold on here. The good news for Ajarsaraj is she does get bonus points because she did lead a couple laps under green. So those do count as a bonus point.
It's going to help her get a jump over some of those playoff cars who got knocked out in that big wreck.
Yeah.
There were a lot of them.
Regardless of where she finishes, that will be a help to her.
You need a caution, but you can't be the caution.
Yep. And it's looking very like that looks very unattainable at the moment. Unless you want to go ahead and cause the yellow yourself. Here comes Ijavida to the inside on the 98.
Here comes Davison as well. That's second and third now.
Second and third. Ajarsaraj has dropped off there. Ten seconds. The gap from Jukovic
10 seconds to the leader.
To Ijavida.
With around 15 laps to go.
It's 17 to go right now.
It's just smooth sailing for the 62.
Yep. Needs no problems from here, and she can pretty much just coast this thing to victory. Unless we get a yellow flag. Right now, just that one caution for the big wreck. And Ijavida is starting to pull away from Davison now in the 2 car. I think Ijavida could have the best shot at Jukovic here, but best shot here is going to be a very relative term. .01 is better than .001.
That's 0.01.
Yep. And yeah, the 98's starting to really drop off now. She's just lost 5th to Yatica. She really needed that yellow, but I don't think she's going to get it. She'll need it in the next 5 laps.
As looks like pretty much the rest, well, not the rest of the top 10, but 2 more cars look to get by her, that being the 34.
And the 72. 72 is going to be the one that gets by, though. It's been a very fun race, though. I mean, despite the lack of battling for the lead, I still think this has been a very good race.
Yeah, I mean, just action on every corner of the racetrack.
Absolutely.
And as was last night, and even taking out half the field, we still got great racing as we hit our Windows 11 laps to go.
Windows 11 to go. Jukovic leads. Ijavida, Davison, Yatica, Parkings, Harina, Ajarsaraj, Malikson, Alicia Byrne, Lowry Schliesenbach, the top 10, and also all of the lead lap cars at the moment. There might be a fight for 5th here, as Harina and Parkings have been bickering over that spot for a good bit. Playoff cars that are off the lead lap right now: Nihale, Alacantes, Handstrom, Yoniga, Happeman, Vebelst, Talberson. Those are the cars that are still running that are off the lead lap, that are in the playoffs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 playoff cars still running at the moment. And of the ones that came in below the cut line, it's the 6, the 1. It's the 6 and the 1 that are the only ones not running.
Fair few less playoff cars taken out in this big one as there was in last night's big one.
Yeah.
Even with the larger amount of cars involved.
98's pitting.
Oh, and it looks like the 98's pitting.
She ran out of time. Can't wait for the caution anymore. That was almost hairy, though. The 42 and 98 almost made severe contact there. We are starting to approach that point where the race would just end under yellow.
That would be at 5 laps to go. We're coming to 6 to go.
It'll be around 3 to 4 laps to go, actually.
Just one caution all night long for the big wreck right in the middle of the race. 2 great sets of green flag runs separating those.
The first half, it was the tale of Carly Byrne. In this second half, it's been the tale of Halis Jukovic, looking for her 3rd win of the season and to punch herself into the second round of the playoffs with authority. 10 seconds.
I talked earlier about Carly Byrne stealing those 2 points from the playoff drivers, but that big wreck happened just before halfway, and it's been all Jukovic since. I think she's going to be able to scoop up those 2 bonus points as well as, obviously the leading a lap bonus point and the win. She now puts the 8-car lap down. That leaves us with 8 cars.
8 cars on the lead lap now. Thought the yellow was out with the way the 8 merged in, but nope. 3 laps to go for Jukovic.
A caution now would end the race.
Absolutely.
Coming around to take 2 laps to go.
2
She's done
laps.
everything right tonight.
2 laps
Avoided
left.
the big wreck.
Yeah, Jukovic has done
Kept the
everything
car
right.
clean. And no mechanical issues. She's been the class of the field in the second half of this race.
Done it perfectly.
She moves past Lily Halverson in 3 and 4 here.
White flag. 1 lap remains for Halis Jukovic. Trying to hunt down this win in Kansas. She won the Daytona 500. She went a long time without winning again, but then she won at Richmond just a few weeks ago. She's about to do it again here in Kansas.
And that's going to lock her into the next round of the playoffs.
Yep. Gains are
Off of
that
turn 4.
gains are that crucial playoff bonus point, and Halis Jukovic will run away with it and win in Kansas. She's on to round 2. We'll wait a while. There's second place. Isa Ijavida. Really good run for Ijavida today. Easily her best run of the season. Andrea Davison finished 3rd. She continues to add to the mark of top 10s that she has right now.
Yappy Malikson.
She'll have
7th,
14.
Janet Parking 6th.
And well, we had a little bit of worries about weather tonight, but the only storm that hit was the incident in turn number 4. With that being said, Liam, what are your thoughts on this one, and how do you think this will affect the race going into Watkins Glen next week?
I mean, big wreck aside, it was a great race. It was a competitive race. The leader may have pulled away, but you'll get that sometimes at these 1.5 mile tracks with the clean air out front. Outside of that, every position was a fight. 2nd, 3rd, all the way down to the battles for 13th, 15th, 22nd. When that was still a position that you could compete for. These drivers they were lights out tonight. Yeah, an even better show, I think, than the Continental race, and I think part of that is due to us having 130 laps without a big wreck, as opposed to 12.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone put together a great show. The drivers had the teams put together some great strategy calls, some not great strategy calls. It was a learning experience, as this entire season has been for these drivers and teams. And as you head into Watkins Glen, it's a totally different atmosphere. It's not a night race. It's a road course, and it's a cutoff race. It's going to be a crazy show.
And Halis Jukovic did get the most laps led marker tonight. We will have the information on how everything lines up with the points. We will have that for you in our mid-race report studio with Russia and Madison. We'll get that as soon as we can. We'll also have analysis of next week's race at Watkins Glen and who we might expect might be bumped from the playoff field next week. Russia, Madison, you two take it away.
Hello, and with that...
Right.
Ooh, that was a bit loud. Hello, yeah, and with that... Yeah, I mean, that second half of the race was pretty much all Halis Jukovic taking a commanding win at, taking a commanding win here at Kansas Speedway. That does, in fact, punch her ticket to the second round of the playoffs. And, well, with that, that's it. What do you think of the show? Second half of the race was pretty much all Halis Jukovic, but lots of other lots of other action kind of in the rest of the top 5 and top 10. I would say.
Well, to those watching at home, I hope you did enjoy it. I mean, there was a big wreck that left the mid-race support pretty speechless for the most part, but I would have to say that this post-race support does have more to talk about with Yukovic playing the strategy right to win, those cars that weren't damaged still being contenders to some degree. I just think insofar as this race goes, it was just a bit of everything, but in ways that maybe we didn't expect.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how this affects the what do you call it, the end of the standings after this. But obviously with Alacantes and Yukovic locked in now, I think Harina and Nihil had pretty good days. Malixon and Davison as well. They should be in pretty good shape. They should be in pretty good shape heading into the next race here. I wonder what Yarsaraj's situation is going to be, given that she kind of had to be forced into a kind of a weird strategy there. Lost a bit of ground because of that, but she might still be above the cut line as a result. Handstrom as well had a good day, of course. So those drivers I would expect to be above the cut line at the end of the once we get the points all rounded up here.
Yeah, I certainly agree, and just as you've sort of implied, this race will have significant effects on the playoffs, and we have just one round left, which really will put a lot of stress on these drivers if we go ahead and look at the schedule, as it is quite diverse. This one race left will be quite interesting, won't it?
Yeah. Did we get our standings yet? Check this. No, we haven't got it. We haven't gotten it yet.
We should soon.
We should get it soon. Yeah. Looking at the results here, I can probably glance at some of these and figure things out. Yarsaraj finished 17th. That's probably gonna that's borderline, but I think Handstrom finishing 12th should be good enough to put her above the cut line. Nihil and Harina finished top 10. Malixon and Davison as well. All four of those drivers are going to be well above the cut line. They're going to be in a similar position to where Freya von Lundqvist and Naomi Davenport were in the Continental standings, where they should be good to go at Watkins Glen, barring what do you call it? Barring a complete catastrophe, basically. And then let's see. Looking at the rest of the drivers that finished inside the that are in the playoffs as well. Yunfi Yanaga should be in a pretty good spot. She finished 15th. I think that's everyone. I think everyone else, I think, retired after in some form or another. So we'll just have to see. What else? Do you have anything else to add? Go ahead.
We do have our road courses next weekend at Watkins Glen, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Well, we'll think about some of the other performances that we've seen at some of these
here we go. We got
other road courses. Of course,
we do
Bathurst is one of those road courses. Sonoma is also another one. Of course, Montreal. We are quite road course heavy for a stock car racing series, AWSCO is. So just think about some of those, who is best there, and maybe throw away all your picks, because Watkins Glen is sort of the Talladega of road courses. Just about anything can happen, really.
I was going to say, Watkins Glen is a different beast compared to some of these other road courses. So,
faster.
Obviously, the road course racing principles are still going to apply. So, I would expect the drivers that did well at road courses, notably that includes Handstrom and Yarsaraj, and McJasmina as well. Delot as well, taking a win at Mexico City. Her name's probably going to be up in the conversation as well. Those drivers are probably going to be, at the very least, within a shot of running well, probably taking a win. But also, with the way Watkins Glen is, I wouldn't count out our more the rest of the field in the playoffs from being able to grab a good run as well. I think Watkins Glen is definitely the road course with the most parity. You can definitely do well even if you're not traditionally a road course centered racer at this track.
Yeah, those are some great points, and I know we mentioned other stock car racing series and the spectacle that they put on at Kansas in an attempt to hype up the race, and I hope it did for you guys at home. But I think the point is with Watkins Glen, we have seen spectacular racing across many racing series. I mean, you have NASCAR, IndyCar has been there occasionally. Formula One used to have their season finale at the Glen, and of course you have the 6 hours of the Glen. So just tune in next week, and there'll be a lot to look at. You mentioned those drivers who are good on road courses, and with the added pressure of the playoffs, there's a lot to be anticipative of.
Yeah. And looking at these standings, I mean, Jasmine has put herself in a really bad spot. But again, Watkins Glen is the next race, and her one win this season was on a road course, that being the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve at Montreal. So it's not out of the question that something happens that completely turns this upside down, and it being the Glen, anything can still happen, I think.
Absolutely. Do you have any further thoughts as we continue to discuss things after this race and just reflect on all that's happened? Well, we do have the cut line now, actually.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I was looking at the cut line. Like Anstrom and Ayar Siraj, both of those drivers are not that safe, but again, they have a history of doing well at road courses. So those are drivers that might be looking forward to this race. Delot and Vajasmina, they're down there below the cut line, but they have wins at road courses as well. So they're not out of it yet. And even Felicia Vancy has had good runs at road courses. I think she ran top 5 at Willow Springs way back in the season. So that's something that might also be something to look at. So not over yet from all of these drivers that are below the cut line. So things are very close, and I wouldn't count anybody out, basically. What do you think?
I find it hard to disagree with you, honestly. It is hard to, I guess, single out people and say, no, I don't really have much faith in them. But I think as for some of these drivers, I mean, of course, Henstrom, particularly good at road courses, above the cut line. Of course, you mentioned Zawada McJasmine below the cut line, good at road courses. Of course, Vancy, still below the cut line, could have made huge dividends on that by starting on the front row, but things went differently. You have Azarshiraj and Vebels and Raristown in the sort of danger zone. And I suppose if you're literally Tauberson, I wouldn't call you safe, but if you had a decent day, you'd probably be all right. There's just a lot to talk about in terms of just who makes it, who doesn't, and I mean, the Glen is quite an unpredictable track, really.
Yeah, the Glen is fairly unpredictable. For a road course especially, this track is probably the most chaotic of the road courses. And that might be saying a lot, considering we've had some of the wild road course races this season. So I'm certainly looking forward to the racing at Watkins Glen. It's one of my favorite tracks as a whole, whether it's in stock car or endurance racing. So and I should also say that for the Continental Series, we're heading to Oswego, a short track in New York as well. So two different racetracks again. We're gonna have a kind of two different things in mind to keep track of for the cut line battles in their respective series here. Any final thoughts, Madison, before we send it back to Echo?
Not really, but I've mentioned this at the start of the race. I mentioned it just a few minutes ago, but we hope you did enjoy it despite some of the chaos. I think we had a bit of everything tonight, and I don't know if you have any further thoughts, but
Not particular.
if you do, just go ahead.
I think we're good from that. For that. So in which case, thank you for being here with us. I've been Rasha, and Madison's here. Great to have her. Glad to have you in the FanDuel Fan Studio here. We'll hope to see you soon. And with that, we'll take it back to Echo now.
And a really fun race here from Kansas tonight. Despite the carnage, we still had a lot of action in this one. Next week, we're in Oswego in the Continental Series, and we're at Watkins Glen in the Cup Series for the cutoff races. We'll find out who the 5 drivers who will be bumped from the AWSCO Windows Cup Series playoffs will be next week. All right, on behalf of Rashia, Madison, and Liam, I'm Echo. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I will see you all in the next one. See ya!